Call the meeting to order, the Greater Peoria Mass Transit District. Regular meeting, January 9th, 2023, 5:30. Roll call, please.
Trustee Ahart,
Present.
trustee Sterling Polk,
Present.
trustee Hare, and route, trustee McBride,
Here.
trustee Knox.
Present.
You have a quorum, sir?
Thank you. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please, led by Nick.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we get a motion to approve the receipt and reading of the minutes for the regular meeting on December 12th, 2022?
So moved.
Can I get a second? Is there any questions, comments, issues with the minutes? Hearing none. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Ahart.
Aye.
Trustee Polk. Aye. Trustee Hare. Trustee Hare. Just say aye.
Just say aye, Jeff.
Yeah, just say aye, Jeff. We're approving the minute. Hey, trustee Hare.
Present. Or approved.
Got both, right?
Or both.
Trustee Knox.
Approved.
Trustee McBride approved.
All right, motion passed. Receipt and reading of communications. Do you have any?
We have none received.
None. Report of officers and trustees. Patty, yes, ma'am.
Just a couple of things. Being vice president, I got the wonderful subtitle of being responsible for conflict resolution. In so doing, some of the things that have come up, I feel, are due to the fact that we do not have a true employee manual that specifies what our rules and regulations are, and when those are not followed, what the consequences are for those. And because of that, I think we end up having a total disrespect across the board of how people treat each other because there's no repercussion for your actions. So I would like to ask if Doug could work with HR or however you want to do it and come up with a true employee manual and see where we can go from that and specify things that if inappropriate language is used, what your actual ramification is for doing that. If you are violating how you use a vehicle, that sort of thing. So that it's in black and white, there's no gray area. If you do this, this will happen. So I'm requesting that. Then the other thing is, I would like to know if it's possible for us to change in the bylaws our meetings starting at 4:30 instead of 5:30, because I know previously it was discussed that if people wanted to come, they were at work, but we have Zoom, we have Teams, we have all kinds of ways, there's conference calls. So if someone had something they wanted to say, they could do it without physically being here. So I would like to request that, and then I'll defer to whoever to tell us what we need to do to make that change, or if there's discussion as to why we should not. Because mainly our employees are here and our meetings are longer now. We talk more about different things. We go into executive session, and I think it's just sort of unfair for us not to even start until 5:30. And that would be, I need verbiage from somebody on how we go about doing the bylaws. Perhaps Mr. Wambacher would like to say what we should do.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to
that should come up at another meeting, draft some language up in order to change that and then explain. I will tell you that part of the background why the meetings were set at 5:30 and have been that way for the last 50 years is because a lot of our board members at different times work, they have a job. And so 5:30 was a good time for them to be able to get off work and be able to get here for the beginning of the meeting. So, but that's, strictly up to the board when they want to have their meetings. But, those are, that was the original concern was because people were, had what I call regular job. And then, they did this in their free time. So, but, it's really up to the board what they want.
Then I'll work with Desiree and we'll draft something and we'll have that ready unless any of the board members have a problem. Do you?
I think it'd be possible.
Okay.
4:30 work for you, Don? You can schedule one.
Well, one question would be, if you're saying we want to make it more accessible to other people, but isn't it more accessible later because other people will be getting off work? Like the other people in the.
I wasn't necessarily saying more accessible. What I was saying is if there's other ways to access our meeting, if they actually wanted to. And we don't seem to have an overabundance of people that appear at our meetings anyway during the time that I've been on the board. We've had one or two maybe, but not where I felt that it was worthy of us making our employees stay until 5:30 and then we don't get out of here till 7:30 or 8 was my concern. But that being said, Sharon and I are retired, so it doesn't matter. Chris thought it was okay, but you do. So I mean, you're working as is Jeff. So if you think we should not, that's fine. But I would just wanted to bring it to the board. My suggestion. Okay.
What
So
about changing it to 5? That would make a big difference for a lot of people.
I'm also just concerned that most of our people get off at 5 and we're not starting until, and then that, I'm just going back to my days when I was on the other side of the table and I have worked all day and then I know I've got another meeting that starts when I'm supposed to be off. But like I said, it was just my thought. It doesn't have to go any further. I mean, like I said, Desiree and I can draft something, we can send it out. If you decide you don't want to do that, then we'll just let it go.
I don't have a problem with change so much, but I was just thinking people were 4:30 would have to really.
But how many people do we have here from the community on a general basis? If you look back over our monthly meetings, that it would necessitate for us to start at 5:30.
I was thinking more of board members and people who
Okay.
work and try to help with things here. I don't want to use the word outsiders, but it's all that's coming to mind right now. Visitors.
Well, I'm thinking it's okay. Let's do it this way. Desiree and I will draft something. We will send it out within the next week. We'll discuss it again then at our February meeting. But it's not something that we could do tonight anyway.
Okay, can I just mention something too? We've had these hybridized meetings since COVID, where the governor has his edict, and it's probably going to be reestablished tomorrow. Actually, they're supposed to come back out and do that again, where they didn't want people attending meetings, or they were allowing people not to come in person. And so we just kind of opened that a little bit, that they're going back to the hybridized meetings where we can have the YouTube and people don't have to come. So that's coming back.
That's it.
Okay, all right. Any other officers, trustees, comments? Hearing none. Standing committees. Ms. Betty.
Okay, I always get excited when we talk about ADA because we are working so hard. And I want to do a special shout out to all of the people that actually work for Greater Peoria Mass Transit. We've got Angel, we've got Emily, we've got Desiree, just everybody, Shamra and Carla, we've all come together to work out our next event. And we do plan to have events once a quarter. So this will be our first quarter event. It's going to be March 15th. It'll be at the Peoria Public Library. Emily came up with this fantastic title. It's WOW ADA, because we always have that, because, you know, we want to brand ourselves as the WOW ADA committee. It's going to be discovery and learning session. We're going to have everyone speak about the things that people don't know, how you get your passes, what you need to do to get to ride with paratransit. So everything that our community needs to know about what we do internally as far as bus passes, that kind of stuff, is going to be addressed. It's from 3:30 to 5:30, March the 15th. Shamra and Angel have worked on revising the ADA guidebook. Carla is going to make a presentation on application process and what has to be done. Angel is also going to make a presentation about the new app she has for people to schedule visits and things. Emily, of course, is doing publicity, and she's going to do photographs, and we're going to do a save the date. She's got flyers and stuff that she's working on. And of course, Desiree takes care of everything that all the rest of us forget. So please keep that in mind. We have also, Desiree and I have visited all of our existing partners. We've reinforced what our intents are and what we want to do. This week, we're going to see Peoria Production and the Central Illinois Agency on Aging to get them recommitted. I do want to do a shout out for Peoria Production for all of you to know that they did an extraordinary job on helping us meet our goal for Stuff a Bus. They did special promotions, and so just keep that in mind when you hear that. Let people know that we are pleased and proud to have that kind of participation. And that's it. Questions? Okay.
Any questions? Any other standing committees? Hearing none. Or the general manager.
It's on, okay. Good evening. Just a couple of comments. Good to be through the holidays. It seems like we lose a lot of momentum. We have had a lot of people coming in before the holidays. We talked to them. Farebox solution with UMO. There was a microtransit grant. The state's waiting on the rebuild money, and we haven't heard anything back. Oh, an Uber. We talked to them before the holidays, and holidays hit, and we don't hear anything back. So hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll get some resolution on some of those projects. February meeting, it sounds like you guys have that covered. I apologize. I let my wife schedule a vacation. And I didn't realize until a couple of weeks ago that, oops. March, Christine is going to be at the legislative conference in DC. Any of you that still want to attend, I think we have until the end of January to get that in.
27.
Yeah. I am going to be in drug and alcohol training that week, so I won't be in DC. So, let's see. I think that is about it. Yep, looks good. Yes, ma'am.
I read what the union said about us in the microtransit. Is there anything we really need to be concerned about? I never thought of that as being a conflict between the union and the microtransit. I mean, it just never occurred to me that they would take that as a.
Yeah, and as I responded to Corey, I don't know if I might not have put you guys in that loop, that some of the issues they were talking about, we had defined in our presentation as far as first mile, last mile, after hour service, the safety to the passengers, And so, yeah, when and if we do get funding, we will be talking to them about what we plan to roll out and how we plan to implement it. Yeah, I wasn't too surprised that they sent us that letter, but, yeah. So if and when we get funded, then we'll have the meeting on to see if everything we are implementing meets their standards, I guess.
Would those people be in the union? That would be
No.
doing it?
Depending on, probably not. I think the end of the letter from the international president was he wanted them to be protected and make sure that they had the opportunity if they so desire.
To be part
But, yeah, and that all depends on how we run this microtransit out too, so. But, the one thing we're short is drivers and vehicles, so it's gonna be tough for us to do it. Well, I guess I did want to mention the Washington project. We started that pilot. We've got about 3 or 4 months in. We reviewed it and we've got enough funding for another year. So we're gonna keep that going and see if we can build on it a little bit. They have expressed an interest of running a fixed route bus into Washington from Sunnyland Plaza. It's kind of cost prohibitive. I'm working on some alternatives and maybe using some of Angel's vehicles that are in the area to run a shuttle or a microtransit, if you will, for some of that service. So we'll kind of see what they come up with, if they can come up with the funding for it. So, yes.
The amalgamated letter just shocked me. I was like so frustrated after a rabbit. It didn't seem like they were looking for progress.
Well stated.
That's it.
Anything else?
Thanks, Doug. Nope, new facility update. It's Beth.
Hi, Dad.
Can I give him an agenda?
Good evening. So we added some pictures to show the new employees enjoying their working on the buses here in the paint and maintenance booth for you. Punch list 99% complete. Closeout docs are 99% complete. It's currently just in the design team's hands. We're still reviewing that. So once we get those finalized, we can get a final thing submitted to the operations.
Hold the mic closer.
Great. Owner training for the compressor that was completed last Wednesday. So phase A, we're pushing along, getting wrapped up. Phase B, C, and D, mid-states, they removed the precast bracing. Any Finch excavated pits at the north end of the garage. Western, they were supposed to start last week, Thursday, Friday, but due to weather and manpower, they did not. So they were supposed to be starting this week. Hanley, they detailed the steel at the admin and decking at garage. JJ Breaker installed CMU between electrical and tire rooms, and then also between tire and equipment rooms. A&J Electric excavated for duct bank, installed conduits and poured duct bank and drive lane between garage and south building. They also installed temp lights in garage and installed conduit at equipment pits at the north end of garage. So they are moving right along. Tobin excavated and installing underground plumbing and pits at north end of garage, installed 4 drains for the skylift pits at the north end of the garage, and installed roof drains at garage. Right way, they completed the parapet wall between admin and garage last week. And then River City, we've been forming diamond pit slab at north end of garage, formed skylift pits at north end of garage, installed blocking at roof openings, installed safety handrail at the mezzanine, temp heaters installed temp enclosures to help keep the heat in, and then overhead door at the wash bay was installed last week also. No adjustments to GMP. Again, phase A is 99% complete. Phase B, C, and D were 32.7% complete. And then the total bill to date currently is 14.2 million. So, and then payout 20 will be coming out in the next 2 weeks. We have been doing a lot. Any questions?
Looks like we're gonna have to get some inside cameras now.
Okay. Port Transdev General Manager, Angel.
Thank you. So the big news over at City Lift was last week. I put a little blurb about it in the bottom of the summary. In the very early morning hours, we had the theft of, at the time we thought it was about 21, and then it went down to 18 of our vehicles were vandalized. It was extremely disrupting, and it was a lot. So 18 of our vehicles had the catalytic converters sliced right off. It took them 1 hour. They were in and they were out. It has been reported to the Peoria Police. They've been absolutely fantastic working with us. Unfortunately, as expected, they are not able to find these individuals because they're probably long gone by now. But they've done a great job trying to put everything together. I want to say extremely proud of my maintenance team. My maintenance manager, he was on vacation when this happened. My AGM, he was out sick when this happened. So the A mechanic, his name is Aaron, he jumped into action, grabbed his laptop, grabbed his phone, started calling all over the country while I was dealing with the police. He was sourcing for the parts. Locally, we were not able to get them until mid-February because that's how much in demand they are. Fortunately, our previous maintenance manager, who's up in our Grand Rapids office, Chris, he's had this problem happen a few times up there. And so he has a vendor that he uses down in Arizona. Fortunately, I bought 21 catalytic converters because at the time we thought that's what we needed. And we had them shipped 2 days. They were going to do overnight, but they couldn't get them because of the weight. But we had all of the supplies by Thursday, and by Friday afternoon, they were complete. So Aaron, Shanti, and Quentin, my mechanics, they were absolutely amazing. They never stopped. All three of them, except, I'm sorry, not Aaron, but and also, I'm sorry, Howard. He's one of my utility workers who also is on the side a mechanic. Shanti, Quentin, and Howard all have been drivers before, all have been promoted into their new roles. So they know how valuable this service is to our community, and they did not stop until they were done. So I just wanted to say a little shout out for them. They were really amazing and incredible. Plus our other utility workers, they were moving vehicles. They were making sure that vehicles are safe in the lot. Mike and Rico and Chuck. And they're also doing work as security. So we don't have anyone, so there's somebody at our facility 24/7 until we get an updated camera system and updated gate because they slid under our gate. So there's a lot going on. We're looking at camera system, we're looking at gate, and just some other things to further enhance the security. There's a cage type of thing that you can interlock through and I probably don't know the correct terminology for it, but it's a set of cables that you basically interlock throughout the catalytic converter. So they can't cut through those cables. And if they try, they're probably gonna try for half a second and give up. So we're gonna be getting some of those. None of this has been cheap. It's been a very expensive couple weeks, but we're gonna do it because obviously it's that important. The only good thing was it happened during a slow week. So we didn't have as much of a disruption as we could have had. But again, I just want to say really proud of my maintenance team for everything they did for that. Okay, outside of that, we are still recruiting. We are significantly short-staffed. I'll be very transparent with you. Today was not a good day. This afternoon was really rough. We did have some individuals who had to wait quite a while. My dispatch manager went out and drove. Road supervisors have been driving. We had a couple people for class. One of them did not come back today. Another one had a family emergency. We had drivers go home sick today. Other ones call off. So it's, if you get complaints from your constituents, they're probably very valid. It's been a really rough time. But we're pushing through. The drivers that I do have, they do care about the service and they're doing the best that they can with the resources that we have. All of us are pitching in. I've been dispatching quite often, and as is all of our management team. But we're pushing through. We have about 5 people that are on deck for class hopefully next week. We are meeting with the union tomorrow for negotiations. I'm feeling really confident that we're going to make some significant progress tomorrow. Corey and I have been working really hard to try to do be as fair as possible to both sides. So I'm really thankful for the relationship that we have working forward with that. So hopefully by the time the next board meeting comes, I'll have some excellent news for you. And some of that hopefully will include a pay raise of some sort. So that hopefully will help us with our recruitment and our retention. So very excited to get that going. Some of the other things in the union contract have already been tentatively agreed. Some of the benefits and time off and things. So I think the drivers and all the staff are going to really appreciate that. Outside of that, as Doug said, our Washington service is moving along. We provided 135 trips, and most of them are really standard people, about 5 people who go frequently, like dialysis and work and things like that. And some we're hoping that will increase as we have more drivers as well. And that's pretty much all for now. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say, I saw the email and about the issue and how I just want to commend you and your team on how well you have handled this. I just was so proud to know that you guys are all part of Greater Peoria Mass Transit and what a great job you did. So I'd like to give all of them a round of applause. Because it was an extremely difficult situation. And your team pulled together and did a phenomenal job. So just know that it's well appreciated.
Thank you. We definitely, it was stressful, but even to the drivers, some of them didn't have a bus to drive. So they were squeezing people on as much as they could, staying over. Some were coming in early. They were double dutying on the buses. So we had utilities like ready and waiting to gas them up and send them back out. So yeah, it was definitely a group effort. So
Thank you very, very much. I talked to somebody from Joe Davies, I think it was. They haven't even gotten anything in that was taken yet.
Oh, yeah, they're really hard to find. I can try to reach out to them and let them know about our vendor down in Arizona, because it's a Ford dealer down in Arizona, and they go through this a lot. But even directly through Ford, we couldn't get anything until February. So we were really fortunate that they had them down there.
Good job.
Questions, comments? Nothing. Thank you, Angel. Great job. Any public comments? Any old business? None. New business. Resolution 2320, recommendation to enter into agreement with Midwest Bus Corporation for the purchase of new autonomous wheelchair securement system in an amount not to exceed $105,367.68. Jason.
Good evening, everyone. Come to you live and in person this time. This is an agreement with Midwest Bus Corporation for the purchase of 4 autonomous wheelchair securement systems. They will be installed on our new Flyer buses. We'll be retrofitting them with the Q-Strength Quantums to make it easier for our passengers to ride the buses, become more independent when they're doing so. We evaluated proposals from 2 responsive bidders and selected Midwest Bus Corporation having best met the criteria. The project will be funded 100% by Rebuild Round 1 funding. And it's my recommendation to the Board of Trustees that we award this contract to Midwest Bus Corporation in the amount not to exceed $105,367.68. Questions?
Just because I don't know what this does, can you explain to me what it does? I mean,
Yeah, so the Quantum, have you had a chance to go on one of our electric buses?
Right, so is it the same as that? You're
Yes.
gonna put it on regular buses.
Correct. We're going
Okay.
to retrofit our
Okay.
4 green buses
Gotcha.
since they will be around another while longer than the ones we're set to replace. So that way our passengers will have a better ridership experience.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Welcome.
Any other questions? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
A second.
Second.
Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Ahart,
Approved.
trustee Polk, approved. Trustee Hare,
Approved.
trustee Knox,
Approved.
trustee McBride. Motion passed.
Motion passed. Okay, resolution 2321, recommendation to exercise option year 1 renewal of Everside Health for an additional 1-year term, starting at February 1st, 2023, for a monthly flat fee of $14,071, plus the fixed cost of lab work and pharmaceutical supplies.
Good evening, everyone. Before I get started and make the presentation for approval, I would like to introduce Allison Klassen. She is the regional manager for Everside Health, and I wanted her to go over some of the metrics that we've had for this past year and how our employees have used the service so far before you had an opportunity for the approval. Thank you, Shannon. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. Again, my name is Allison Klassen, and I'm from Everside Health, the regional manager there. So one of the things that I'm glad Shannon brought me for is we do quarterly meetings, and we kind of go over a lot of the metrics that have to do with your patient population that comes through the health center. So the health center that you guys access is in East Peoria. And these are some of the things that I show her during our quarterly meetings, just to show the value of the program and where your money's going. So first of all, I like to start off with the Net Promoter Score. So Net Promoter is a tool that we use to see how likely people are to recommend our services to someone else. Anything over a 70, it's on a 1 to 100 scale. Actually, it's on a negative 100 to a positive 100 scale. So anything that is over positive 70 is considered excellent. So as you can see, your employees and their dependents that access the health center in East Peoria have given us a 95, which is an excellent range. Mind you that we don't get a whole lot of surveys. Your patient population is pretty small, but we've gotten 19 surveys in the past year, and they have said that they do and will recommend us to their colleagues. Another thing that I like to show, and this is just a snapshot into some of the metrics, we go over quite a few, but I do feel like this is very important because it shows that we're saving lives. These 6 chronic conditions that are up here on your screen, obesity, hypertension, hyperlipidemia, diabetes, anxiety, and joint arthrosis, or like osteoporosis, those are specific to your patient population. So those are the top 6 chronic conditions that we're seeing in your patient population. One of the other things that we do is we have a category that's called high risk, and all of the 6 components of that category are the same. It's BMI, nicotine, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, and glucose. You won't see it on here because I didn't put it up here, but I just wanted to let you know that these are patients that we track. So anybody that falls into 4 or more of these categories, which are chronic conditions, or the high risk categories, 4 or more of those, because there's 6 of those as well, we track those patients specifically. So every month I create a report, I give that report to our providers, they look through it to make sure that these patients are being compliant with their visits. If they're not, they miss labs, they haven't been in like they're supposed to, then we call them, we do outreach, and we just, have a conversation with them to make sure that they know how important we know it is for them to be in the health center. These are the top 6, or the 6 high risk factors that I was just talking about. So blood pressure, BMI, glucose, hemoglobin, nicotine, and cholesterol. And then it shows you how many patients we're screening in each of these areas, and then where your patients fall, if they're in low, moderate, or high risk. So it's just another tool that we use in order to track your population, something that you would probably never see in the fee for service world because they don't have time for this. But it allows us to gear or to make our healthcare more around your patient population. If we're seeing a specific thing that's happening just to your patients, then our providers will change their trajectory based off of that. One of the other things that that you will see that we do is we break down service types. So the type of appointments that we're seeing most often in the health center, actually not even most often, just the type of appointments we're seeing in general. One of the things I do like to point out is that your patients are utilizing virtual visits. We offer virtual visits if the patients have established care. So if they've already been to the clinic at least one time, they call us and say, hey, I'm out of town, I can't get there, but I have a cold. Can I do a phone visit or video visit? We accommodate those. So it's just nice to see that the patients are utilizing the virtual visits as well, but majority of our visits are in-person office visits. We do a breakdown of brand prescriptions versus generic. The brand prescriptions are the ones that you're going to pay a higher price for. The patients that get brand prescriptions, they have to be sent out to Walgreens, CVS, Walmart, any of those pharmacies. Anything on here in the green area here is generic. Those are the medications that we're prescribing in-house and dispensing in-house in our health center, and you guys are getting the lowest price. So for example, you might send a prescription to CVS for lisinopril, and your insurance, going through insurance, it might cost $100 for a month. In our health center, it's like $3 for a month of medication. So you're getting the cheapest price when your patients are actually using the generic medications. You can't see this little bitty, I cut and pasted this obviously, but patient participation, I can't talk right now. I just like to show you where your numbers are. So in terms of every patient that is able to come to the health center, out of 100%, we have almost 20% of your population that have accessed the health center in their first year. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it's actually good. 20% is what we strive for. So 17.5% is almost there. We just need to, the smaller the number, the harder it is to meet that goal. In terms of primaries, majority of the patients that are coming in are primaries, but we've reached a little over 30% of the primaries. And then spouses and dependents follow closely behind that. These are the things that we have done for CityLink in terms of marketing. This is trying to get more people to the health center, educating them on, we have what's called monthly toolkits where we have webinars, and there's information that goes out to the patients in terms of what that month is representing. So for example, if you look at March or February of last year, the toolkit was on metabolic syndrome. So we sent out a bunch of stuff on that. We have a webinar about it. And then every month there's a new topic. So these are all of the marketing initiatives that we've done for you guys. We've also done the department safety meetings. So back in October, we did 9 of those. Some of you guys probably saw me or Wendy or somebody at one of those. We did on-site flu clinics. So we immunized your patients here. And obviously anything that we can do to be on site to help your population be more healthy, we want to do that. There's more. And then the last thing, I had the provider, she was set to come with me, but patients come first. So she had a patient that needed to be seen this afternoon or this evening, so she couldn't come. So instead of a success story, what I did is I just printed out a few NPS testimonials. These are coming directly from your patients. They're very short, and there's 3 of them. The first one, the patient says, and they gave a 10, on a scale from 1 to 10, they gave a 10. The health center has helped manage my chronic pain with one simple medication. They're very friendly and knowledgeable and conscientious of follow-up with the patients. My experiences at the health center have been nothing but positive. Another testimonial, I feel very comfortable after my first visit than I've ever had at any doctor appointment, even the ones where I was visiting a provider I've been to before. And then the last one, I was able to get into an appointment yesterday as a walk-in to take pictures regarding some issues I have been experiencing with my legs. Also, I am glad that the nurse practitioner, Mary, recommended taking labs. She was able to treat my complaint of fatigue. Everyone at the health center is nice and friendly. I love the convenience and great healthcare provided by the Everside Health team. Thank you. So that's all I have to say about the health center. If you haven't been there, we usually say you just walk in the door and we can pretty much hook, line, and sink you. So I appreciate you guys' time. And then one other thing I just wanted to say on a personal note, for CityLink, City Lift, I have a sister who is special needs and she works at Community Workshop Training Center. She's been there for 35 years. She's always used CityLink. And I want to thank you guys because you guys have been great getting her to and from work for 30 years and making sure that she's there every day. She never has an issue and you guys make it very easy. So thank you for that. That's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did anybody have any questions for Allison? No? Okay, so the resolution that you have before you is for recommendation for the execution of option year 1 with Everside Health to continue that for our employee health clinic. It'll start February 1st. So as soon as we finish up January, we will have been in it for 1 year. The monthly flat fee will be increased, 3.5% increase is what it comes out to be. And that is based on a per life or per eligible member fee. And so the monthly flat fee starting February 1st will be $14,071. And then all the other pass-through costs will come in addition to that. So we would like to recommend that you approve the execution of option year 1 for Activate Health for the employee health clinic.
Any questions for Shannon? Hearing none, can I get a motion? Can I get a second? We get a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Ahart,
Approved.
trustee Polk, approved, trustee Hare,
Approved.
trustee Knox,
Approved.
trustee McBride, approved. Very nice job.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
guys so
Have a
much.
great evening.
Well.
Resolution 2322, recommendation to exercise option 1 of the Greater Peoria Mass Transit District managed IT and support services agreement with STL Technology starting March 1st, 2023, going to February 29th, 2024, utilizing the current contract rate in an amount not to exceed $16,168.13. Nick.
Hi, good evening. So the summary that you have before you is to ask recommendation to execution of the first option year to the STL contract for their IT managed services and their on-site support. We originally awarded this to STL back in 2020, and since then they have been crucial in helping us design and plan for the construction of a new building in regards to all things technology-wise. They also provide us our on-site engineer with him and his staff that he has back in Bloomington. They are integral to keeping our network up and running on a day-to-day basis. Executing at this option year now will be a great value to the district and keeping a company on board with us that has been extremely reliable over all these years. So it's pretty short and sweet. It is recommended that the board authorizes the general manager to exercise the first option year of our contract with STL for their IT managed services and their on-site support for the fixed rate of $16,168.13 with additional pass-through IT expenses should they arise.
Questions for Nick?
Monthly amount, right? Or what's that amount monthly, or is it? That's monthly. All right. The 16,000. Yeah, it's monthly.
So previously, you said this first went effective back in 2020. So is there, was there any review to go with, understanding that the support services in general are needed, which you explained, but also any portion that we should look to have in-house versus external? Was there a cost benefit analysis done for that?
We did a review of the company, what we thought, how they've done so far to date, and the consensus was they're doing a very good job. Bringing them in-house, that would be something that would probably need to be discussed later. Predating myself, it was in-house, and then the direction was to take it back out of CityLink. A lot of the reason why is because they already have their network and their infrastructure in place, so they keep everything in our network behind their firewalls and stuff like that. So they have physical servers, they have the cloud, all that's protected in their servers and whatever you want to call it back in Bloomington. If that makes sense. They're able to protect us. That's why
So that was done previously, and this is just a renewal.
Yeah, this is just exercising an option year, just to keep their contract in place.
Any questions? Good. Can I get a motion to approve?
So move.
And a second.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Ahart,
Approve.
trustee Polk, approved. Trustee Hare,
Approve.
trustee Knox.
Approved.
Trustee McBride approved, and I don't know that I'd be still working with computers if it wasn't for them. Fantastic job.
All right. Next, the discussion of management contract and approval of actions arising from the discussion board. If it's all right, Bill, you make directions. I'd like to table this to do some more discussion with the board members. Do we have to take a motion, vote on that, or we just go ahead and table it?
You can just defer it till a later meeting.
Do we have anyone of the board members opposed to deferring it to a later date? No. Okay. All right. Hearing none. Thank you. Next, organizational chart, general manager.
Included in your packet is the revised organizational chart for your approval. A few of the things that we have changed is we've had everybody move to a director level. We've added a director of human resources with the human resource manager. We had a safety analyst. We've moved him over to a customer service analyst. They'll basically be doing the same job, but just in a different capacity under Shamra instead of Jason. I thought maybe that would kind of clean up the customer service part of it a little bit. I think those are the big moves. Oh, and then we also moved paratransit general manager up in line so that they have a direct connection to the general manager. And I'm glad they don't call me in the middle of the night when they find out their kind of converters are gone. So thank you for taking care of that. I guess that's what I have.
Questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, can I get a motion?
So move.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Ahart,
Approved.
trustee Polk, approved. Trustee Hare,
Approved.
trustee Knox,
Approved.
and trustee McBride approved.
Much discussion. You have your organizational chart, sir.
To Don's point about IT, we've kind of gone back and forth on that. Bring it in-house, move it out, bring it in-house, move it out. So somewhere down the line, probably after the next year, we'll either look at rebidding it or see what we want to do with it.
Good?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm just holding this.
Oh, okay. Financial report for December 2022, board bills. Christine, I thought you were going to say something else. I didn't realize you were being polite.
All right, this is for the December 2022 financial activity for your approval. In the December, our total operating expense, $2,535,686.21. Compared with our projection, it's 1.9% less than we have. For this month's salary, it seems a little bit higher than previous months. It's because we have 5 weeks instead of 4 weeks. So currently, every week, we pay around the $200,000 for our employee in their salary. And also, we pay out for our facility construction, $1.6 million. So far as the ambassador mentioned about that, we have a year-to-date almost $14 million. With that, staff recommend board approve December 2022 the expense and also capital expenditure.
Any questions for,
I have one.
go ahead.
I noticed there's just a single name under wage garnishment services. Did we change companies on that?
Which one?
Or who did the wage garnishment? It used to be 3 or 4 companies would appear, and now it's just Blip and Games.
Yeah, they change. Sometimes they take over, they change the company, and sometimes the state, have a different attorney handle that. We change that.
Okay. What's the new name?
Yeah, new name.
Any other questions?
I have a question, but not about this.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the financial report for December 2022? And a second.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Ahart.
Approved.
Trustee Paul.
Approved.
Trustee Hare.
Approved.
Trustee Knox.
Approved.
Trustee McBride. Approved.
Passed.
Motion passed.
Well, before you go,
Oh.
I got one question. Okay, way back October, September, we had talked about doing something to decrease that $6 fee that we charge. And somewhere along the line, it sort of kind of fell through the cracks. So I wasn't sure who was going to look into that, because we had sort of talked about taking it from 6 to 3, but we never discussed it anymore. And I was thinking, because it's a financial thing and it would be a loss of revenue, that it sort of kind of fell to you. But then someone had said it was a county agreement. And then we had talked about maybe Mr. Wambacher needed to be involved. So I just need to bring that back up, because I would love to be able to tell people at our meeting in March that we reduced that fee. So I sort of threw it out because of finance, because I didn't quite know where else to put it.
Yeah, I remember that kind of conversation during the email, but yeah, you're right. A couple months ago, it kind of dropped.
Right.
So I saw the Don's response, and then also Doc have some kind of input. And then after that, there's no discussion.
Right.
So I didn't see which direction. But yes, if we want to analyze something, we can prepare some kind of report for you as a reference.
Okay.
But yeah, they do have some kind of contract language, specifically say the language is $6 per
Okay.
ticket right now.
Okay. So I'm going to ask Doug if he would work with Mr. Wambacher and Christine to find out what that contract says and how we can adjust it or change it, because I'd love to bring that down. And if 3 is not good, maybe 4. I mean, just so that we can show that we are, especially with our economy the way it is, for our clients right now. And that would be all. Thank you so much.
So adjustment of the county contract from $6 or 3.
I prefer 3, but
Was you talking about the fair?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, the contract, they have a specific with some kind of other agency, they specific, some of $6. I think there's one entity is $5. So in between the contract, every time it's some of it is an annual contract, so short period of time. So you should be able to revise. So
Well, I guess my question would be more of, can you give us an analysis of what made that number up? And then once we see that data, we can better determine whether or not we would want to say we want to reduce it to X dollar or Y dollar, rather than just say we want to take it to a certain dollar amount. Let's see what is made up of, and then decide from there whether or not it's feasible, and if, what percentage that would be.
I
Yeah,
think,
so that way we could show every time we lose $1 in revenue, what it would look like, or who has to come up with what.
I
I think the $6 is a little bit higher than right now, the $2. It's because that's called the gray area, meaning it's not under our DOE funding. DOE right now support our 65% of our operating costs. So without that portion, state didn't support that. So we kind of calculate it's more than $2. But I don't remember how they calculate, reach the $6. I think that's the general manager before you, so I'm not so sure how they come up with that number.
It was actually the county board at the time.
County board, oh, okay,
Before you.
before we took over,
Yes.
I think.
Did you say there's another one with a $5 fee?
Yeah, there's one entity, a lady I just saw is $5, so I don't know, who's signing it?
So there's service contracts with the different agencies such as Epic and Senior Health and CWTC. So some of those agencies, previous to Shamrock, the other gentleman who has had that position, he agreed to do $5 for some of those agencies who are in rural areas because of their funding. So it's not the $5 isn't something the general public pays. It's just the agencies. I don't know off the top of my head which agencies because I don't do the contracts, but the $6, yes, originally it used to be $12 per ride, and then the county put it down to $6 years and years ago, and it just carried over into your contract.
So we'll get some information in February perhaps. Thank you so much.
Yes, we will have
Okay.
something, we'll have preliminary numbers.
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angel. Okay, anything else? Next meetings are February 13th and tentatively March 13th, barring any changes. Any other issues? Hearing none. Sharon, can I get a motion to adjourn?
You can get a motion to adjourn.
All right. 6:26. Thank you.
Yeah, you go. Yep, yep.